in the RV. We're doing our shakedown cruise. This is about the only way we can really work on the camper because we just can't put the slide out at our house, and then we can't leave it there more than 24 hours because HOAs. What we're going to do today is we're going to put in the Vortex 2 fan. We're going to get rid of our regular ceiling fan that came stock with the RV. This is produced by Heng's Industries. That's HENG''S. We've already put one in the bathroom. We're gonna put the other one right overhead here in the kitchen. I'm pointing up to it right up above my head. So we're gonna replace, and this is our stock fan and whatnot. It'll fit right in here from this side. I don't have to get up on the roof. I don't have to take out any of the caulking or anything. This goes straight in here. You know, it's probably not as nice as the Fantastic fans and the Max Air fans. It doesn't have any kind of remote for it, etc. But this, we got really low ceilings, so it's not a problem reaching up and handling it, so we don't really need any of that. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is remove 4 screws for this sort of dressing to get to where we need to take out here. So here we go. Pop that out. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is there's a screw holding this knob in. That's got to be removed. We just pull that off and then this whole screen comes out. So I got a screwdriver here. We're just going to pull this screw out here, stick it up in here, and unscrew. All right, so I struggled to get the screw out of this because there wasn't one in there. I guess it was just wedged on there well enough that it never fell out. And then you just, this screen is really easy. Just these little tabs, you just pull that off and that's done. That shroud that goes around here sure does cover up a multitude of sins. You can see, look at this fancy workmanship here. I mean, they really gouged it out. They even tried to put in a little, get it here, they even put in a little wood filler in there. Next thing, I guess we can take this off next. This is really just pops out. It's pretty simple. It's not screwed in or anything. You just pull that loose, and then you have there's a couple of little electrical connectors here we need to disconnect. Pull a little closer, some interesting connectors. So I don't need wire nuts or anything. I can just flip these levers up and replace the wire, this black wire with the wire on my fan. Next thing I want to do is just take this fan out. This little cheapo fan, it just pops off. Easier said than done. Because the reason why I want to pop it off is there's tiny little Phillips head screws. Let me show you. There's some little Phillips head screws right here I need to take off to get this fan out of here. I'm just gonna leave this here because the new fan pretty much just covers that up anyhow. I don't think it's gonna impede flow really, so you'll see what I mean when I get to that. So all I have to do is quickly remove these little Phillips head screws. I just disconnect this. See, this lever just pops up, wire comes out, and now I'm free to just pull this motor clear on out of here. Here's the moment of truth. We're just gonna pull the fan out of here. Just like, there's nothing else in here. There's some padding. There's a little bit of hardware, and there's no instructions. But fortunately enough, it's easy enough to figure out. The last one I put in didn't have instructions either. I've got to somehow get this wired up while I'm holding this up and then getting this into place to screw in, to get it all situated and screw it into place. Now, another thing you have to do is, can you see this? Look up in here. This is your control for your vent. I mean, this is useless if you can't open this. And they give you a knob right here. And it connects through here. I mean, this is where, this has to connect to that thing on the vent up in the ceiling. And then this side is where the knob goes. I found out from what I put in the last one that this actually needs to be moved over. It's not gonna work where it is. So to move this, they give you an option in 2 places. So I just have to remove these 2 screws and move this one over. And then I gotta wire it and fish it in and then screw the whole thing into the bracket. By the way, here's how this is held in. See this hole right through here? It comes with a screw that goes in through here and in through here. And those screw right up into that hole and over here on this hole. So you don't want to remove this bracket because obviously that's not only supporting your crank for opening the vent, but it's gonna hold this whole thing up. Let the fun begin. The first thing I'm gonna do is just move this over. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove these 2 screws and move this thing over and just screw them back in. Remove these 2 screws. So I took those screws out, I'm gonna move that over. All right, so one thing I'm gonna do is just take this screen off for now because we're gonna wanna be probably reaching up in there a little later. It just pops right back on. What we're gonna do is adjust this into a new position. We had it in the inner one, we want it on the outer one. So we're gonna go from here to here. And all you had to do was unscrew those 2 screws from the front side, and you'll see me re-screwing those in. And then that goes, see it's right there. I'll flip it over, see it's in its new position. And then I just take these 2 screws, pop them in. I feel like this is when it's really handy if you have 3 hands. Anyhow, we'll just screw these in. Okay, so in your hardware bag, get a couple of these screws ready because once your hands are busy up here, you don't want to have to be fishing it out of here. Wouldn't hurt if you had somebody to help. But my someone is filming, so I'm on my own. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my wires, and then we'll even give it a test run to see if it actually is working. And now I want to recheck that one, make sure I got it in good. Yeah, it was in good. All right, let's just test it to see if it even works. All right.
Yay.
All right, so it works, and the fan's just wide open there, so don't get your fingers caught up in it. This has to match up with that, which is kind of fun to do. And that this might have to be edited because there'll be some cussing and it will take quite a bit of time. This gets screwed on later. For now, I'm just going to put this on so I can rotate that to help line it up. Okay, now this is where your shoulders and arms get really tired. I got it on, and I know that because when I rotate it, notice it's opening my vent. All right, now one other thing is you got these wires you have to deal with. You want to get those out of the way. You can even go up through on the roof and deal with that later if it's easier. All right. A little cussing and screaming. It wasn't easy. We finally learned it's easier to tap the screw on the same side as you have your crank, because if you do it over here, it flops down and you're realigning it, and it's a real pain in the butt. Now I just have to put the other screw in, and I'm gonna move these wires over a bit because it's snowing out and I don't plan on going up on the roof. So there we go. It's such a long shaft down in there, and getting it so it gets through the hole for me was difficult, but finally we got it in place. I'm gonna tighten down these screws, tighten it up. Let's take this knob off so I can get to this one. We have one more screw we get the pleasure of putting in, but this one will be easy. This is the one that screws the knob in place. All we have left is put the screen in our fan. Boy, this take, there we go, tighten it all the way down. All right, so all I'm gonna do is put this screen back in. The last thing we have left is to put our shroud back in so it dresses it up. It looks kind of nice. And you notice it seems to slope a little. You don't notice that with the old one. And that's just because the roof is sloped, but this dresses it up pretty decently. So we're just gonna kind of slide that in place and put our screws back in. Wouldn't hurt if I got a little bit bigger bit than that. So let me pause. All right, I think we're in business. All right, on this fan, you can go forward or backward. Forward means it's pulling the air out. You got high, medium, and low. And here we'll put this piece of paper on there. Suck it right up. Good ventilation on it. We can turn that over, and then the other way, the reverse actually is pulling air into the, blowing air from outside into the cabin, which means we can circulate the bathroom one way and the kitchen the other way, and we could really circulate air through here pretty well. Right here shows the bathroom one. And it's literally only a few feet away from the one in the kitchen. So we should be able to get pretty good ventilation.